It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
So growing up, we all have sports heroes, right? You know it. We've got posters, we've got action figures, we've got T-shirt jerseys, bobbleheads, we've got decorative pieces that line our bedrooms, line our dorm rooms. We've got it all because our sports heroes, they're our guys. At least they're always our guys for a little while. Sometimes their star in our life falls as quickly as it rose because, you know what? Sometimes we just fall out of love with the sport. Sometimes we get disenfranchised with the fact that the guy we labeled our sports hero, he's never going to be the guy again as his career goes on that we want him to be. There's all kinds of reasons why our heroes fade away. Sometimes they become, unfortunately, mired in legal trouble or PED allegations, or they leave our team, they jettison our city, whatever it is. There's all kinds of reasons why our sports heroes fade away from childhood to adulthood. But you know what? There's always one. There's always one guy who rises above all the noise, who in one way, his career path, his career arc, it follows your own life. You feel like you grew up with that guy, and that's part of the reason why, even though you probably don't know your hero on the field, you probably never met him before, you've probably never taken a picture with him or had a drink with him, you feel like you're closer to him because you feel like, in a way, you grew up together. One guy whose image, it can't be punctured by anything. It doesn't matter what the media says, what the haters say, what your friends say, what your buddy at the end of the bar says. This guy's image, it cannot be tarnished, it cannot be changed, and that is because he's your guy. And for me, that guy is Ken Griffey Jr. I grew up in Seattle as Junior did, at least professionally, and sure, we both moved away, and Griffey eventually went back, and I haven't. But we both grew up there in a way. And now, Ken Griffey Jr., as of this week, is entering the Hall of Fame. 99.3% of the vote. 437 out of 440 possible voters voted for the kid to go into Cooperstown this year. The highest percentage ever. The highest percentage ever. 99.3%. Fitting for one of the greatest players ever, and arguably, and for my opinion, the best player of his generation. 630 home runs, 10 gold gloves, 13 all-star appearances, the prettiest swing in the game's history. The backwards hat, the undeniable flair, the great catches. Ken Griffey Jr., he could do it all on the field. He could do no wrong on the field until injuries took a toll on his body, the way that injuries should take a toll on a guy who's going up in age. Ken Griffey Jr. did it the right way. He did it on the field better than almost anyone in history ever has, and that was reflected in his voting percentage this week, 99.3%. But look, it isn't just the on-field accomplishments. The laundry list of accolades, that's not what makes your guy your guy. It's the link that guy provides you from childhood to adulthood, the fact that you do feel like you grew up in the same way that your guy's career grew up and took hold. It's that link between childhood and adulthood that makes your guy your guy. Maybe some of you feel that way about Kobe Bryant. You're watching Kobe Bryant play his last year, and you realize, if you're my age, I'm 26 years old, you know what? The NBA has not had Kobe Bryant since I was 5 or 6 years old. Kobe Bryant has been in the NBA nearly the entire time that I've been following it. And if you're a Kobe guy, if you're an NBA guy, you probably feel the exact way that I feel about Ken Griffey Jr. Maybe it's Peyton Manning. Maybe it's Tom Brady. It's probably definitely the way that you Yankee fans feel about Derek Jeter. How many Yankee fans that are my age, 25, 26 years old, how many of you don't even remember baseball before Derek Jeter? That's probably most of you, and that is why Derek Jeter is looked at with such reverence by Yankee fans. Okay? Our sports heroes are great because no matter what, they have always been there. You've shared in their triumphs, you've cried at their tribulations, and guys, don't play dumb about it. The 2001 Yankees, when they lost and you were 10, 11 years old like me, if you were a fan, you probably cried when they lost that World Series. I cried when Ken Griffey Jr. asked for a trade from the Mariners to the Reds, and despite it all, he's still my guy because those guys, those memories that they've given us, those highlights that they've provided, they have become the soundtrack to your childhood, the soundtrack to your adulthood, and the bridge in between. And you know what? You could listen to them all the time, just as I could.
Back to the warning track. The wall makes the leap and makes it unbelievable. What a catch! Over the shoulder catch.
those highlights from Mariners.com, and I could listen to them over and over and over again, just as you could the Derek Jeter World Series compilation, just as you could the Kobe Bryant YouTube video of his greatest plays. That is why our guys are our guys. Ken Griffey Jr. will be inducted into the Hall of Fame on July 24th, fitting the 24th for number 24. I'll be there, but I don't know if I'll be there as a media member. I don't even think I'll be there as just a guy who loves baseball and has appreciation for greatness. I think I'll go there as the 6-year-old kid and the 16-year-old kid and the 21-year-old, still a kid but almost a grown-up, who watched Ken Griffey Jr. and grew up with Ken Griffey Jr. I watched him up close when I lived there. I watched him from afar, and I watched him everywhere in between. I'll have on the T-shirt, jersey, and the backwards hat because even though we're both a lot older now than when we first started in Seattle together, the kid is still the man to me. Ken Griffey Jr. going into the Hall of Fame, 99.3% of the vote. For more on Junior, 9:45, we'll have Bob Stelton of ESPN in Seattle to talk about 99.3%, the highest voting percentage ever in Hall of Fame voting history, more than Babe Ruth, more than Tom Seaver, more than Nolan Ryan, more than everybody. It's Ken Griffey Jr. He stands alone. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. I'm your host, Brady Farkas. We do it every week from 9 to 10 a.m. All your local sports covered, all your New York sports covered. We are just an hour and a half from Cooperstown, so induction weekend will be a huge thing here in the Capital Region as well. Another thing that's big in the Capital Region right now, the Siena men's basketball team, the Saints. If you thought they were done when Marquise Wright went down a week and a half ago, I told you last week that you're wrong, and it was further highlighted this week. The Saints, they beat Fairfield on Thursday night, 91-76 at the Times Union Center. Siena is very, very good, and as I said last week, and it still holds true today, even more so, if they can just tread water while Marquise Wright is gone, Siena has a bona fide opportunity to win the MAC tournament. They have a chance to win the MAC tournament. Brett Bisping and Javion Oganyemi provide Siena one of the best 1-2 punches that you will see at the mid-major level. Siena was coming off a triple overtime loss to Manhattan on the road. Manhattan, a team that they had beaten by 30 1 month earlier. Here, that's not a loss that you like to have on your resume. The team you beat by 30, you go and lose in triple overtime, you lose on the road. Would have been easy to hang your head and come out the next game and play flat. That's not this Siena team. Not this Siena team. Not with Javion Oganyemi and not with Brett Bisping on the inside, because those guys are going to give you a chance no matter what every night. Javion Oganyemi, 19 points, 11 rebounds. Brett Bisping, 28 points. 28 points for Brett Bisping on Thursday, and that 1-2 punch, again, that will carry you in the MAC conference and give you a chance that as long as you can tread water without Marquise Wright, you can make a play for the MAC tournament come March. Jimmy Patsos after the game on Thursday about Brett Bisping.
I think he was as hurt as anybody that we didn't beat Manhattan, and he heard the rumblings. Uh-oh, here goes Siena in the toilet. I think Brett took that personally, and it showed with his 28 points. 28 points for Brett Bisping, and if you have a 1-2 punch, two guys that are 6'8" or above in the MAC conference and then in the MAC tournament play, you've always got a chance. Siena, another reason they aren't done. Nico Clarith, guy who can step in. They've got depth at every position. 5 guys for Siena in double figures again on Thursday night. You can't stop at the mid-major level. 5 guys on the floor who can score at all times. Bisping, Oganyemi, Ryan Oliver, a guy who's a senior, who's been on the bench, who comes off. Now he starts 11 points. He provides a punch, can shoot it from the outside. He's long. He's athletic on defense. Then you've got Nico Clarith, the superstar freshman. And then you've got Levon Long, who, look, he can give you anywhere between 9 and 19, 20 points a night, and that X factor, that wild card, is always a threat for Siena. They've got guys all over the floor who can score the basketball and who can provide this team. They're not one-dimensional. Siena is not, they're not reliant on one guy. Marquise Wright was one of the best players in the country this year, one of only 4 players in the nation to have 17 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. One of only 4 players in the nation to have that feat when he went down. In Siena, if they can tread water without him, and they will, they're going to be a threat come the end of the season, come March. And then also, Siena, remember, how are they going to win the MAC tournament, Brady? How are they going to do it? Well, the MAC tournament is here in Albany, and Siena is 7-0 at the Times Union Center. 7-0 at the TU Center. Nico Clara spoke to that after the game on Thursday as well.
That's just something we expect to do, protect this house. We care a lot about the Times Union Center and the community, the Siena community that supports us so well. So we're going to protect them as good as we can.
Siena 7-0 at the Times Union Center, and you heard them. They expect to play well at the Times Union Center. They expect to play well. 11,000 fans were at the Albany Siena game with the Albany Cup. Most of them were in green and gold. If Siena can get that kind of turnout, they can continue to play well at home throughout the regular season, get themselves a good seed for the MAC tournament, and then try to win it on their own floor. They don't have Marquise Wright, but they'll play well enough without him. And then when he gets back, they will be a huge threat in the MAC conference. He should be back between the middle and end of February. Again, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. High school hoops last night, a lot of great games around Section 2. And Niskayuna, there's a team on the boys' side that I wasn't expecting to be talking about coming into the season. But Niskay beats Averill Park 73-55. Andrew Evans, Tommy Kelly each have 28 points for the Silver Warriors. Niskayuna is now 8-4 rather. And look, they've lost to Shen by 20, which that's an accomplishment to only have lost to Shen by 20 this year. Shen wins again yesterday. I think 83-30 or something was that final score. And they've gone out and they've played Green Tech. They've played some of the more athletic teams around Section 2 already. Niskayuna 8-4. They are playing very, very well. Albany Academy 80-58 over Waterville Elite. 28 points for Hamir Wright, who's arguably one of the best players in the area. And when Kevin Herta graduates, I think it's pretty hands down easy decision that Hamir Wright is the best player in the area next year. Glens Falls 65, Gloversville 53, 30 from Joe Girard III as he continues to average more than 35 points a game. Just a freshman. This kid scored 52 a few weeks ago, has got over 40 a couple of times. And if he stays healthy, he's only a freshman, but if he stays healthy, he's going to have Joel Winkowski's Section 2 record all-time scoring lead in Section 2. That's going to be in his sights by the time he is a senior. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Jimmer Fredette, he's killing it in the D-League. His shot has got to be getting close. We're going to go ask a guy who knows the NBA better than anybody. Alan Houston, former New York Knick. He joins us next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Jimmer Fredette is killing it right now in the D-League. He's been killing it in the D-League, but it took a different level this week. Jimmer and the Westchester Knicks and the rest of the D-League out in California at the D-League Showcase. And what the D-League Showcase is really just 2 games, but all the NBA scouts are there. All the NBA teams are there. Jimmer Fredette scored 24. He scored 21 in those 2 games. He shot it well from the field. Jimmer Fredette is averaging 23.5 points a game. He is shooting better than 50% from the field. He's shooting 46% from 3. He's averaging 5 assists a game. So Jimmer Fredette is answering all the critics. He's doing what he was supposed to do when he got to the D-League. And Jimmer Fredette, he's got to be close to getting that NBA look. He's just got to be close. And for us in the Capital Region, it's something that we want to see. It's something we've been rooting to see. And look, I am a Jimmer fan. I'm a Jimmer supporter, but I'm not blind to the flaws in Jimmer Fredette's game. He's not a starter for every team in the NBA. He's not. But you're telling me that Jimmer Fredette couldn't go out and play for the Philadelphia 76ers? He couldn't go play for the Brooklyn Nets? He couldn't go play for some of these teams that have just been embarrassments to the league this season? Jimmer Fredette's a guy who can make an NBA roster, who can play 6-9 minutes a game and score a couple of buckets. Play for your point guard if he's in foul trouble. Jimmer Fredette is a guy who can play in the NBA. He's got to be getting closer to his shot. He's certainly putting up the numbers, and he does deserve it from that standpoint. And now a guy with an interesting perspective on the phone with us, Alan Houston, 12-year NBA veteran, 9 years with the New York Knicks, helped them get to their last NBA Finals. He's now the general manager of the Westchester Knicks, so he gets to see Jimmer on a day-by-day basis. Alan, thanks for being with us. What has Jimmer brought to the organization out in Westchester for you guys?
Well, first of all, he just brought a level of excitement, for the organization, for the fans, for the local community. I think he's been great. Everybody knows that you guys know the type of person he is, the type of man he is. Very humble, hardworking. He just wants to get better. And what he's brought to our team is just a threat. He's one of the best players in the D-League, and you can see every game he's getting more comfortable with where he can make an impact on both ends of the floor. But I think what he's brought to our group is just a level of humility. I think our players respect his preparation and the way just his professionalism. But he obviously brings shooting. He brings an offensive threat. He brings something that not a lot of D-League teams have, and that's the ability to affect the game individually, but affect the game in a way where you're helping other players continue to grow and get better. He's 26 years old, so he's experienced, but he still has a lot of development capability, and I think he's just looking every day to see where those things come. So it's been fun for him to watch. You can see a lot of his family and friends and people who are close are coming to support him, and it'll be fun to see him continue to build as we go into the D-League showcase, and however long he's with us, we just want to continue to not only challenge him in areas where he can get better, but support him and help him help our other guys.
You guys are out at the D-League showcase right now in California. Jimmer continues to impress, scoring over 20 in both games. How has his game evolved since he got to the D-League? Has he changed anything since he got to the D-League?
Well, he just, the great thing about the D-League is it provides an opportunity for players like Jimmer to just play and get a rhythm, get a confidence. When you're a young player and you just don't get the playing time at the NBA level, you have to have a high-quality level of competition and but still get the time to go through making mistakes, missing shots, and just learning yourself. And he just hadn't had that opportunity. So the biggest thing for him was just getting back to that, finding not only who he is and was, but where he needs to create more opportunities and expand himself and expand his game. Obviously when he got here, I could tell, and when we talked a little bit about him, he wanted so bad to make an impression, and he was so anxious because he hadn't played. So I think he was trying to do a lot of things on his own. But I think as he's settled in and the offense has become more familiar and his teammates have been more familiar with him and vice versa, you could tell he's been more patient, picking his spots better, and he's worked on his efficiency. Instead of, going, 10 for 24, now he's going 8 for 16 and having assists and rebounds and deflections and just having more quality possessions for our team. And we can see now, when he's not in the game, we can definitely see the difference in the flow. And so that's how how he's continuing to improve and having an impact.
12-year NBA veteran Allan Houston with us, 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Allan has spent 9 years with the Knicks as well, now a general manager for the Westchester Knicks, where Jimmer Fredette is. And you guys, as I alluded to, at the D-League showcase now, Jimmer has played very, very well. Whether or not it's the New York Knicks or someone else, do you think Jimmer comes out of this showcase or in the recent days with an NBA contract?
Well, the showcase is just another 2 games. I know everybody will be watching, but trust me, all these teams have seen him play now. So it won't be this showcase that will, solidify that opportunity for him. He's already, I think, shown what he can do. The showcase will be, kind of maybe some icing on the cake for him. But, we've all talked about this, with Jimmer and the other players, is that, even if something does not happen right after the showcase or during the showcase, the test of your character and your commitment will be, what happens if it doesn't or if it does, and I think that he's shown, a high level of commitment. And when that opportunity does come, he's going to be ready.
Allan Houston, general manager of the Westchester Knicks, 12-year NBA veteran, helped the Knicks get to their last NBA Finals. Allan, thanks a lot for being with us this morning.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Allen Houston, former New York Knick, one of the purest shots in the NBA in the mid to late 90s and the very early part of the 2000s. Glad to have him with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. Again, hope it happens for Jimmer. He has played well at the showcase, 24 and 21, 50% from the floor. There's room for him on an NBA roster. It's just a question of finding the right fit, and as Allen alluded to, finding a team that will give him an opportunity to play at least some consistent minutes, even if it's not a lot. Just getting him out there consistently on a night-to-night basis, because he's shown early in his career, even with the Kings, that he can do it. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Brady Farkas, your host, with you until 10 a.m. this morning. RPI and Union Hockey back in action finally after the holiday season. RPI, an update, RPI was ranked 20th in the USCHO poll coming into this week. They tie with Princeton on Thursday. They are now 11-7-4 overall. 4-1-4, though, in ECAC play. They're off until next weekend, January 15th and 16th, when they host Cornell and Colgate at Houston Fieldhouse. So, again, the Engineers ranked 20th in the USCHO poll coming in to this week. For Union, they were receiving votes in the USCHO poll as they've kind of turned it around here from their early season woes. 9-7-5 overall, but just 2-6-2 in league play. They lost to Quinnipiac 5-0 this week and also tied Princeton as well. They'll play Colgate and then Cornell at home next week. So the reverse schedule of RPI for the Dutchman. High school hoop action this week. Big news, Kevin Herter of Shenendahowa, Jenna Giccone of Bethlehem. They were nominated for the McDonald's All-America game. Yeah, that McDonald's All-America game, the one that takes place in Chicago, the one you see the likes of the Ben Simmons of the world at, the Derrick Rose type talents, if you will. So they are not playing in that game guaranteed, but they are, they have been nominated for the game. Jimmer Fredette was nominated for the game. Taylor Battle was nominated for the game. As you're trying to think of other local guys who have been nominated for that game. Greg Kubek as well, back in the late 80s of Shenendahowa. And so Jenna Giccone of Bethlehem has her team out to an 8-1 start this season. She's averaging 17 points a game. Certainly one of the most dominant players on the girls' side. You look at her, you look at Carly Bolin from Shen, you look at Sydney Brown from Shen, who's the daughter of Derek Brown, who joins Armin Levac every week during the Derek Brown football hour powered by Blue Rock Energy. And so Jenna Giccone, Bethlehem, the reigning Class AA champion on the girls' side. They beat Shen last year in an upset. And I talked to Jenna Giccone earlier this week. I asked her, what was the moment like when you found out you were nominated for the McDonald's All-America game?
I was actually sitting in class, and I was not expecting it at all. I got a notification on my phone, and I just, pure excitement. I was really happy. Yeah, it was great. I didn't quite know what to do with myself.
Didn't quite know what to do with herself, but she had her phone out in class, so Bethlehem teachers, don't hold it against her. Great moment for Jenna Giccone, the rest of the Bethlehem Eagles. She was nominated for the McDonald's All-America game. You can listen to the full interview at 1045theteam.com. You can also go to youtube.com/team1045. I talked to Jenna Giccone earlier this week. Kevin Herter on the boys' side has Shen out to an undefeated start. Remember, they're the reigning state champions last year on the boys' side in Class AA. He's headed to Maryland next season, averaging 20 a game. Coming into last night's game, he had 14 in a Shen win over Ballston Spa. Another blowout for the Plainsmen. I also asked Jenna Giccone what it's like just being linked up with Kevin Herter in this McDonald's All-America game nomination process.
Yeah, it's awesome. I respect him as a player very much. He's a very hard worker and great on the court, so it's really nice to be linked with him as such a great player. So
Kevin Herter going to Maryland. Jenna Giccone, she's committed to Dayton. Her sister Gabby plays at Northeastern, was also part of that team last year that won it for Bethlehem. Bethlehem was the number one team on the girls' side in Section 2 a season ago. Mohawk Honda, though, they always try to be number one in the Capital Region. They try to do it by providing the best customer service, because really that is the key to any business relationship. You want to have that professional customer service that your customers can count on and can depend upon. And Mohawk Honda, look, they try to make it easy for you. They have over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles available to select from. They're open extended hours in all of their departments to better service you. You can shop over 10 acres of savings opportunities or go online 24/7 at MohawkHonda.com. And yes, don't worry, they'll provide you the lowest, no-hassle prices to better suit your budget. A business can have all of that, but without the best customer service, it doesn't really matter, and Mohawk Honda makes that a priority. Being number one isn't easy, but at Mohawk Honda, they treat their customers with respect, and they've been doing it for nearly 100 years. That's 4 generations of the Harridan family serving the Capital Region. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the number one automotive family, because at Mohawk Honda, they always go out of their way to please you. From Herder and Giacone, 2 local athletes who are going to big-time colleges, we've already got one who's been at one. Jordan Canzeri, Troy High School graduate. He led Iowa to the Rose Bowl. He joins us in studio next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Yes, we are back and in studio. A special guest, a guy you may recognize from the work he did on Saturdays this season. Iowa running back, Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri, back home after helping lead Iowa to the Rose Bowl, a game which they lost against Stanford. But Jordan, hey, we're happy to have you back in the Capital Region, and thanks for stopping in studio with us today.
No, thanks for having me.
What was so you're home for a week now after the Rose Bowl. What's the first thing you did when you got back to the Capital Region?
I mean, first thing other than just, seeing the family and the dogs, cats. I mean, I miss my pets out there since I don't have any. But after that, it's pretty much just there's certain food places that I got to go to.
Where's the spot you got to hit?
Well, I got to hit Famous Hot Dogs in downtown Troy, and then
I'm
right
a
up
Gus's
on
guy.
Oh, all right.
But
yeah, and then right up on Hoosick Street. I used to work there. I love New York pizza, so those are just things that you just miss. I mean, the food out there is great. It's just different, though.
Yeah, so you got your food spots back here. Did you head up to Troy High at all? I'm sure those guys wanted to see you.
Oh, not yet. I'm going to just I'm always in contact with the coaches and the athletic director and principal. So, I'm going to shoot up there just either today or tomorrow.
How cool has it been for you to have, this hometown connection? Every time we post about you, man, it's huge numbers. It's always, everyone's been so interested in how your season went over at Iowa this year, obviously making it out to the Rose Bowl. What kind of support have you had, even though you're, a couple thousand miles away?
Well, I mean, the support has been great. It's just something, I just feel blessed to be a part of. Everyone just being able to just be there to support me. Everyone just always just high hopes for me and always wishing the best for me. And just to see I have the backing of my whole town and everybody and a lot of people in the Capital Region. I mean, that just means a lot to me when I'm just so far away playing in all those games.
Now, you had the tough ankle injury against Northwestern, I think, earlier in the year, and then you had the tough ankle injury in the Big Ten championship game against Michigan State. You played in the Rose Bowl. Were you 100% by Rose Bowl time, or was it?
I mean, it's just one of those things that, honestly, just when you're speaking to media and all the questions, it's because, we don't want to give too much disclosure or anything, but, I was just in a state where I was just ready to go because it would take a lot to keep me out of that game.
If it was Bowling Green for the second game of the year, you might not have been playing, though?
Just in the case of it was just like a game that, wasn't as much a high stakes, I probably would have sat out of it. But, I mean, it was just great to be out there. The training staff just did so many good things with me. The rehab just went really quick and everything, but I'll continue just to do it all when I'm back training for the combines and everything. So,
Iowa running back, Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Jordan, we'll talk about the game in a second, but just what was the experience like at the Rose Bowl? What was it like in Pasadena? What was it like before the game? What was that whole experience like?
I mean, it was my first time in California, so it was already good for me. Just the weather was great, just the atmosphere, and then all the events that we went to. I mean, so grateful for the Rose Bowl committee, the Tournament of Roses, just the hospitality that they showed us. And when we went to Disneyland, just meeting the president there and just the things they did for us. And then Lowry's with the Beef Bowl. I mean, there's just so many great events. They just treated us so well. And then just to finally just be in that stadium, step on the field. I mean, it was just a dream come true because that's just a game. That stadium is something that is just so traditional and has so much rich history to it. And the one game in college that, I mean, I'll probably never forget is when I was younger, was watching Texas versus USC, and that was just an amazing game.
The Vince Young game.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, just to be able to step on that field and be able to play on that field of when I've just watched guys play on that when I'm younger, I mean, it was just crazy to be a part of it. It was just an awesome experience.
It was cool for us watching it at home that the minute that the broadcast came on, they showed you guys coming out of the tunnel. You were all locked arms. You were front and center leading the team out of the tunnel there. What was that like for you?
I mean, it's been cool because the seniors this season, we just took it within ourselves just to really just lead this team no matter what and keep each other accountable. So it wasn't like just because we're a fifth-year, fourth-year senior, we could let things slip, but we would, get on the young guys for it. No, we all held each other accountable. So that was a big difference of this year, just the amount of commitment that everyone had. And so every single game when we walk out on our swarm, the seniors are always in the front. Because, we want to lead by example during the season, and we want to lead by example on the field. Because Coach Ferentz, he always says we need our seniors and our older guys to play their best and to lead their best. So that's our job. And so for me, just to be able to lead out and just do my last swarm in the Rose Bowl Stadium, I mean, it can't get better than that.
Now, we know the way the game went. Stanford wins in a landslide, 45-16, I think it's off the top of my head. And I know you guys were prepared for it, but they just came out unbelievable in that first quarter. Just what did they do to you guys?
Well, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he's an amazing athlete, and I've just heard so much that he's just a great guy as well. So, I mean, just personally as a student athlete, I hope the best for him in his future. But for us, we all realize that we just didn't play the way we normally do. And when our head coach, Coach Ferentz, when he came in and spoke to us at the end after the loss, he said it to us. He just was straight up front, and it was the truth that we came to play for 13 of our 14 games. This game, we don't know what it was. It might have just been the hype and just the emotions and everything. But, yeah, we didn't play our football at all. We had way too many mental errors to count. Guys were just playing the way that they normally don't. We were making a lot of mistakes that we never even had before. And it was just a rough day, and especially when you're going against a great team like Stanford. If you don't play your football, if you don't come ready to play, then they can do that sort of thing to you. But, I mean, it was definitely a tough loss. But, again, it was something that Coach Ferentz also mentioned was just to stay positive and don't let this game tarnish the season that we've had because, I mean, we've made a history at Iowa going 12-0 in the regular season. And, that's a tough thing to do in your no matter what schedule you have. So that was just a great accomplishment for us. But, it does sting for that to be the final game. But, we're proud of the things that we did, and we understood that. We just didn't play our football.
Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. He's in studio, fresh off taking Iowa to the Rose Bowl, a game they lost against Stanford. But, Jordan, Derrick Henry of Alabama wins the Heisman Trophy. Now, you guys didn't see Bama this year up close and personal, but he must be pretty darn special if he was able to beat out Christian McCaffrey because that guy who you did see, he did it all. Kick returns, punt returns, rushes, catching balls out of the backfield. I mean, that guy, Derrick Henry must be pretty darn good to beat out that guy.
Oh, yeah, well, I personally thought that Christian should have won it. But, I mean, Derrick Henry, he's just a phenomenal athlete as well. He's a great running back and everything. But so the whole team is as well. He has a great offensive line blocking for him, and the whole team itself is just a great, phenomenal team. But yeah, Christian McCaffrey is just an all-around athlete, and he showed it on the field. And it was something that we expected, but again, you can only watch so much on film, and that doesn't show how the person really is on the field. And he was a quick guy. He's a good athlete.
You got a prediction on the Clemson-Bama championship game, or are you not even going to watch it?
I mean, no, I'll watch it. I would honestly say I think it's gonna be a close one. Some people have said that,
but
I think Bama's just gonna take it away in the end. But both of the teams are really good. So I know that this championship is gonna be a good one.
Did it motivate you guys all year? Because the haters were out. Oh, they didn't play Ohio State. They didn't play Michigan State in the regular season. They didn't play Michigan. They didn't play anybody. Did that motivate you guys throughout the whole year, playing with this chip on your shoulder?
I would say so, just because, I mean, it was something that we did and we're pretty, used to it, is ignoring the noise, not listening to the outside people, because even with success, those people that, were behind us, backing us up, we knew if we were having a bad season, they would be the ones talking bad about us. So it didn't matter if it was good or bad. We just ignored it, just focused on ourselves, the people that sacrificed within the walls of the facility, the the people that have put the time and commitment into it, just focusing on those guys and each other. But I would say just playing wise, yeah, it did, just for the matter of even though we continue to win, just people would say that, we didn't have a strength of schedule and anything. But that's the thing that, it's tough because a lot of people just don't see it as that. They see names, they see where they're from, just the college and its history, and that's what is pretty much backing up of the team of this prior year. But the way it is, especially now, just with the level of competition, if you don't come to play, it doesn't matter who you play, they have a chance to beat you. And so many teams have shown that. I mean, there's so many upsets this year, so many crazy finishes, and that's just how college football is. So you just always have to go and be prepared to play your best because there's a lot of good teams, a lot of great teams that, came down to the wire with teams that they should have blown out. And then there's teams that, just the complete opposite. They should have blown out the teams and they ended up losing. So that's just how it is. So, we don't listen to the strength of schedule and saying we didn't play anybody or anything because they've proven themselves. And, the Big Ten, it's a very competitive and physical conference. So, again, we're just very happy with the success that we had in the regular season.
Jordan Canzeri, Iowa running back, Troy High School graduate, helped take the Hawkeyes to the Rose Bowl. And, Jordan, we talked in October, and you said that the NFL was your aspiration following your college career. Now, is that still the goal? What steps are you taking? How are you preparing for that now?
Oh, well, yeah, it's definitely a dream of mine. It's something that I wanted to do since I was a kid. Just so excited just for the opportunity and the chance if I get it. And so for right now, just being done, I mean, it's weird just, finally being officially done. I graduated in 3.5 years, so, but I still had, extra year of eligibility.
So no more classes for you when you go back? So you're going back to Iowa?
Yeah, going to go back to Iowa City and train there with our strength coaches and just have a job out there too. So, I mean, all I have to do is focus on that, and that's a good thing that, I just got my 2 degrees down, finished, and now all I have to do is focus on preparing for the NFL. And, I'm just going to put everything I have into it because some people only get this opportunity once. I mean, if there's the chance that if I don't go, that I would just continue to train and try again next year. But, I'm just going to put it all in because, I have nothing to lose, and this is a dream of mine. So it's been an amazing ride so far at Iowa, so it's just time to finish it off and make it to the next level.
Has anyone told you, given you any inclination as to, I know you're going through the getting an agent process and all that comes. Has anyone said to you, you're a 3rd-round pick, you're a 5th-round pick, undrafted for you? Has anyone given you any kind of inclination as to where you might stand?
Well, I mean, there's always the talk, and, it's just, even though you may hear certain things, that's just, it normally doesn't end up the way. And a lot of people see, like, the mock drafts that are created by a bunch of people that a majority of them, some people that they had high end up going lower and the opposite. And so I've heard just if I did well enough in the season that I was projected, in after the 3rd round. But again, for me, it's something that if I'm blessed and I get the opportunity to be drafted in one of the rounds, I mean, that's amazing. Like, I'm so grateful for that. And but if I just end up getting just the chance of being a free agent and going out of camp, I mean, I'm just going to make the best of it, and I'm going to give everything I have to just show that I belong to the team that I get the chance with.
Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri with us in studio. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Jordan, look, seriously, you made the Capital Region proud, taking Iowa to the Rose Bowl. You always gave us a reason to watch the Big Ten with a keen interest. Best of luck in your future. Thanks for being here today. And look, we hope to talk to you again before the NFL draft. Good luck.
All right, thanks. Means a lot. Sounds good.
That was Iowa running back, Troy High School graduate Jordan Canzeri in studio with us. And that's our first guy we've gotten in studio here on Capital Region Sports Saturday here. So a cool accomplishment for us as well. And again, it was great to watch Jordan Canzeri and the Iowa Hawkeyes every week and take their success into the Rose Bowl. This show brought to you by Mohawk Honda, where they provide the best customer service, because that is impeccable, and that's the key to any success. And at Mohawk Honda, they have over 180 trained automotive experts going above and beyond to make sure all of your needs are met. Just ask Tiffany, Katie, Vide. Ask them about their Mohawk Honda exchange program and see just how easy it is to exchange your vehicle for a same or lower payment. That's their Mohawk Exchange program. Ask them about it. Seriously. If new isn't for you, they inventory over 300 of the highest quality pre-owned vehicles, all at one low, below market value, no hassle price. Being number one isn't easy, but at Mohawk Honda, they treat their customers with respect and have been doing so for almost 100 years. That's 4 generations of the Harridan family serving the capital region. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the number one automotive family at Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. High school hoops last night. I was at a big-time game, and somebody in Section 2 got their first loss. I'll tell you who next.
Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Brady Farkas here for the last 15 minutes here. Actually, 13 minutes here on this Saturday morning. Last night, Lansingburg hands Voorheesville their first loss on the boys basketball side of things, Colonial Council action. I was there. Lansingburg wins at 64-52. The first loss for the Blackbirds. Lansingburg gets a big win, and they were led by Hamaji Covington, had 5 3-pointers, and really, Voorheesville did a poor job defensively at leaving Covington wide open. Really just a pure shooter from the outside. He was able to get open. He was able to hit. He hit the first shot of the game for Lansingburg. He's able to hit a couple big shots late in the game as well. So Hamaji Covington, 15 points. Devontae Jones, 19 points. For the Knights of Lansingburg. He was able to slash to the lane, finish at the rim, really did a good job at penetrating and causing that defense to collapse. And then down the stretch, Jahadi Wallace had 13 points, but had a number of free throws at the end of the game. He was 7 for 7 from the line. So Coach Ferruccio and his staff at Lansingburg did a great job in preparing that team for their upset win over Voorheesville. Voorheesville was playing a little undermanned, so I'm sure they will still be there at the end in the Colonial Council. But Lansingburg hands Voorheesville their first loss. Local college hoops today. We've got UAlbany women at home this afternoon, 2 p.m. UAlbany men on the road at Vermont in what is a huge game in the America East. The Catamounts, always a huge threat to the Great Danes in the America East. And for a while, it was the Catamounts who ran the America East back when it was Taylor Coppenrath and TJ Sorrentine and those teams that beat Syracuse in the NCAA tournament back in 2005, maybe, back at this point. And so that's the Danes on the road on the men's side at noon. And now it is the women's game, as I alluded to, at 2 p.m. I will be there as well. A chance to go see Sharisa Richards in action. Again, if you haven't seen her, she's going for 2,000 points here upcoming. So one of the best players in UAlbany history, one of the best players in America East history. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. On the phone right now, Bob Stelton, host ESPN 710 in Seattle, host of the Bob, Graz, and Tom Show. And Bob, Ken Griffey Jr. elected for induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame, 99.3% of the vote, 437 out of 440 possible votes, highest total ever, highest percentage ever. What was your reaction on hearing that news?
You know what? To be honest, I was a little disappointed because as I watched the vote tally, and I was following a guy on Twitter that actually shows you kind of an up-to-the-minute count on the votes. He had been 100% through 215 ballots or so, which is less than half. But, you know, I couldn't think of a logical reason anybody could present as to why they wouldn't put him on their ballot. So I figured, all right, if there's ever going to be somebody that gets a unanimous vote, this is it. And he almost did. So there's the part of me, the Seattle fan, the guy that grew up watching him and covering him, that was ecstatic that he is the highest vote getter in terms of percentage. But I'm still bothered, and I probably shouldn't be, but it still really annoys me that there were 3 people that somehow, some way, found a reason to omit him from their ballot.
I grew up in Seattle as well, and I get frequent grief here in Albany for talking about Seattle at the rate that I do around the office. You got to cover Junior in his prime. You got to see him every single night. What was that like, just going to the Kingdome and then for a little while, Safeco Field, just seeing Junior every given night?
You know, it was interesting because he was already an established star when I got into the business. They were still in the Kingdome. So I grew up, he was my hero. He was the guy I marveled at. He was the guy I looked at and said, this is the greatest player in the game right now. And then to be in a position where I was standing in front of him in a clubhouse was intimidating. And you know, so it was one of those things. When I first started going in there, our direction was, you stand there with a microphone and don't say a word, don't ask a question, just get sound. And I would stand there with a mic as other reporters asked questions. And if he had made eye contact with me, I'd look down at the ground. I mean, I was just, I was that in awe of him. And then obviously it changed over time as I was in there more often and became a host and things like that. You start talking to the guy, and what's unique, and I'm sure you get this as well, is you sort of, I won't say become jaded. You become numb to being around athletes and the things they do, and you can marvel at them and recognize them. But it takes a lot for you to go, that is special. That is something unique. That is something you just don't see. And that was what you felt with Junior. And it didn't matter whether it was standing behind the batting cage as he was going through batting practice or in the middle of a game. You would watch him, and he was the reason to watch the Mariners for a long time. They had a lot of bad teams, as you know. So he was the main reason to watch, and he was must-watch. You would drop what you were doing as soon as he stepped up to the plate and then go back about your business.
Bob Stelton, ESPN 710 in Seattle, with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. And Bob, Cooperstown is an amazing place. It's my favorite place to be, that along with Seattle. And I'm going to be at induction weekend, July 22nd to the 25th. What is the Seattle contingent going to look like in Cooperstown? How is Seattle going to travel for Junior?
That's an interesting question, and it's hard to say. I would imagine it's going to be very, very prominent, in terms of a Seattle presence out there. This is, with all due respect to Gary Payton and Steve Largent and even now today, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, any superstar you can think of in Seattle, Lenny Wilkins, if you want to go back, he is by far and away the biggest superstar in the history of this town in any sport. So he just holds a different place with people, and now he's the first Mariner to go into the Hall of Fame. With all due respect to the great Dave Niehaus, he went into the broadcasting wing. But this is the first player. Randy Johnson goes in as an Arizona Diamondback. This is the first Seattle Mariner. So it was the first megastar to come out of Seattle. It's now the first Hall of Famer to come out of Seattle. And Seattle, as you know, has a very strong attachment, a very personal relationship with Ken Griffey Jr. So I would imagine that it's going to be a very, very prominent presence out there.
Is there a moment in Junior's career that stands out to you where you're like, you know what, when I think of Junior, this is the moment that I think of, this is what made him so great?
Yeah, I've been asked that question a few times now, and it is so hard to nail down one moment. I mean, they're the moments we all see in replays, right? It's him rounding the bases in 95 and sliding safe at home against the Yankees, and the team is mobbing him, and he's on the bottom of that pile, smiling, that smile that everybody came to know that just showed you how much joy he had when he played this game. That, for me, is the most indelible moment. That was a huge, huge time here in Seattle, and to have him be the guy that goes from first to home on the Edgar double, it was just an amazing moment, and this town absolutely exploded. But, him hitting the home run in 8 consecutive games, the Spider-Man catch against the wall against Jesse Barfield, the other catch against the wall where he made the catch and broke his wrist in a game where Randy Johnson was pitching. He had so many highlight moments. But I think rounding the bases on the Edgar double, sliding it home, is for me the one that you is so clear. It's like it happened yesterday.
I think the thing that makes Junior's story so unique, too, and really separates him from other guys in the Hall of Fame or other Hall of Fame candidates is that he helped save baseball in the city of Seattle. The Mariners don't exist if Ken Griffey Jr. doesn't play for them, right?
Oh, you're 100% right. I mean, this town was on its way, or this team, I should say, it was on its way to Tampa Bay. And that magical run in 95 and Junior being the catalyst of that, is what turned things around and got momentum here in the Seattle area going in terms of, funding a new stadium and getting this team in a position to stay here. If Junior's not on this team, the Seattle Mariners don't exist. I mean, they are in Tampa Bay, or the Tampa Bay Rays right now, and who knows what would have happened if an expansion team would have come here or whatever. But that version of the Seattle Mariners would have been gone. That stadium is the stadium that Griffey built. I mean, with all due respect to every other player, Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson, they all played a part without question. But Ken Griffey Jr. is if you wanted to give, a little pie chart of credit for why this team is still here and why Safeco Field is there, he would have the biggest slice.
Bob Stelton, ESPN 710 in Seattle, breaking down Ken Griffey Jr., his election for induction into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown coming up this summer. Bob, Tom, and Graz is the show every day on 710. Bob, thanks for being with us.
You got it. Anytime, man.
Absolutely. Bob Stelton, thank you to you. My NFL picks for the weekend, I'm going with the Chiefs today. I'm going with the Steelers tonight. I'm going with the Seahawks tomorrow narrowly. And then I'm ending it with the Redskins over the Packers. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda. We'll see you next week, 9 to 10 a.m.